Hello and welcome to another episode of Heilman and Haver in the Mix. I'm Heilman, and this is, wait a minute, I'm Haver.
We haven't had a drink yet. What do you mean?
I know.
I'm Heilman, he's Haver.
That's right. Glad
I'm
somebody's got it
Waldorf, you're
straight.
Statler.
Yeah, I think that works pretty well. Yeah, classic pairing. We're down here at the Bay Street Bistro in Port Orchard, Washington, and we are here this week to celebrate Braveheart,
yes.
The 26th anniversary of the premiere of Braveheart. And interestingly enough, premiered at the Seattle International Film Festival.
Yeah, how about that?
We're just just across the water, about 60 minutes as the crow flies from Seattle. And we're down here at the Bay Street Bistro where they're going to be having their Sunday supper this Sunday, the 23rd, and it's going to be Braveheart themed. And of course, we've got the themed Braveheart cocktail.
Called the Braveheart.
Man, we got all these names to keep track of.
I know, right? So, the Braveheart cocktail originated in the Tasting Kitchen in LA. The mixologist there had this drink that was kind of adjacent to a penicillin, Scotch-based, obviously, ginger juice, some bitters and things like that. He played around with it for a while. It was on their secret menu. It became kind of a word-of-mouth phenomenon in the LA area, and they ended up keeping it permanently. And it's kind of morphed into this the drink that we're going to have here, which is Scotch-based. Ginger. I'm going to use ginger liqueur, so I'm going to kind of kick it up a little bit with the liqueur instead of the ginger juice.
Two alcohols never hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Honey syrup, which is 3 parts honey, 1 part water.
Okay.
And then some bitters to kind of give it some depth. So the idea is the Scotch gives you that kind of that woody taste. The ginger is kind of invigorating. The honey syrup with sweetness, and the Angostura bitters for some depth, and we've got some lemon juice to put in there as well. So
give you plenty of energy to fight off those invading English.
Yep. So I'm going to do. We've got a new mixer I wanted to call it, our new shaker I wanted to call it, from Elevated Craft.
Oh, cool.
It's got a couple of features that I really like. It's got integrated measuring in the kind of cap here. Double wall insulation, so you don't have any condensation rings on the bar. B, you can keep your drinks cold. You make a margarita in here, and you can have it, 8 hours later. It's still cold in here, so you can.
Is it any quieter? Is there sound baffling?
We will
in
find
there?
out. Well, it's
So
double
usually
insulated. You would think it would be, and then
no ice today, though.
Well, we do have ice.
Oh, you're getting
in here,
okay,
so
but no ice in the drink.
Exactly, and there's an integrated strainer in here, so this is pretty cool. Little deal. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to use the integrated measuring here. We're going to start off with our Scotch, which the Macallan is my absolute favorite Scotch. In case anybody is interested in buying me some Scotch someday. So
Nice long pour.
yes, well, I'm making 2 of these, right? So double it up. So it's 2 ounces of Scotch per drink. It's 1 ounce of lemon juice per drink, so we're doing 2 drinks. Whoop, I'm upside down.
Where'd you find the new tumbler?
I saw it advertised on Facebook, believe it or not.
Okay.
Online
purchase or someplace local?
It was an online purchase. It was like a Kickstarter kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
And strangely enough, most of my Facebook ads are alcohol related. I have no idea why.
Professional reasons.
Yeah. So
Look at that fancy
3/4 of an ounce of ginger liqueur. So I'm going to go 1.5 here.
That's new to
2
me.
drinks.
I'm anxious to try that.
And then our honey syrup. So 1/4 of an ounce of
Does
this.
the honey need to sit in the water to kind of?
Well, what I did was hot water helps.
Okay.
So that helps absorb pretty quickly, and then you can refrigerate it or whatever. But I think there's a certain ratio of sweetener to water to prevent it from going bad on the shelf. And I think once you're above 1-to-1, at least with sugar, it helps the shelf life. I don't know about honey, but I just made this today.
Stand street.
So yeah, so
we're gonna drink it quick anyway.
Yeah. So do 1.5 ounces of this because it's. Actually, we'll pull this back in here because
pour back out of it. That's pretty fancy.
because I want 1/2 ounce. A little bit more, and then Angostura bitters, always a good choice.
A dash or two.
or 4. All right, let's see what we got here.
Stand back.
Oh, it is quieter.
Very quiet, yeah.
You can do all
We're not
kinds of
disturbing
fancy-
any of our friends
fancy
here at the
shaking here.
bistro. Got a birthday girl over here.
All right, so let's pour this.
Oh, looks like apple cider almost. Now make sure those are even, pal.
I know, I'm working on it. Oh boy. Come on, get out of there. All right.
Now you worked hard. You take the tall one.
All
There
right.
you go. All right.
You're driving.
That's right.
All right, well,
Okay,
to
the
Braveheart.
Cheers. Oh, that is delicious.
Oh, yeah.
It's like sweet Scotch,
Yeah.
but you almost do get a little bit of almost a cidery flavor to it.
Yeah, I think you do.
Delicious. All right, well, we'll try to make it upstairs with these. They might be gone first, but we're going to hit the VIP room and we'll talk some Braveheart trivia and a little bit about the Sunday supper coming up.
Okay. See you in a minute.
Cheers. And welcome back to Heilman and Haver in the Mix, right from the Bay Street Bistro, downtown Port Orchard, Washington. Back for another themed episode. This time we're talking about Braveheart.
Braveheart.
It came out 26 years ago this week and premiered, like we mentioned earlier, during the recipe segment at the Seattle International Film Festival, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a pretty mainstream film to premiere locally,
Yeah,
essentially
for sure.
locally. We're in the Seattle area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like some of the Broadway shows you see that debut in Seattle area. I know Come From Away did.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, the
Doubtfire,
musical,
yeah.
at the Fifth Ave, opening on Broadway this October, we're excited to say. And coming up next week, this is going to be the 28th of May, we have a special episode. We're actually going to be interviewing the prosthetics artist, Tommy Kurzman, who worked on Mrs. Doubtfire the musical. And for everybody should know, if you don't know Mrs. Doubtfire, go rent it. Turn this off right now. Go rent it. Go stream it. It's my favorite movie. And prosthetics feature prominently in the movie.
But don't forget to come back to this when you're done.
Well, right. You're going to want to know more about this cocktail, obviously. And Braveheart. I frequently hear people talk about Braveheart as their favorite movie. Generally males, but there's some romance in the movie, too.
Yeah. It's a modern day epic, I think.
Totally.
And it's got some, over in Scotland, it's got some really close ties to Scottish independence. And especially now, you see a lot of people, they're watching Outlander and some of these other shows that feature, storylines about Scottish independence and some of these similar time frame things. And there's definitely, Braveheart has definitely stood the test of time.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of Braveheart, this is the Braveheart Cocktail. And I got to tell you, this is right up there, probably top 5 of the ones that we've done. Really delicious.
It's good. We were talking to somebody downstairs, one of the customers here, and he was interested in it because it's, usually you drink single malt Scotch, neat or, a drop of water on the rocks, but
By itself.
usually by itself. yeah, I
it's
think
its
that's
own
the
thing.
point. But this is a good complex mixture of flavors and kind of all of those tastes. You've got the citrus, you've got the sweet, you've got all of those things that mix together really well.
Yeah, I thought so too. And you don't need to be brave to drink this. It's very, very, it's delicious, sweet. Some people will be put off by the idea of Scotch, I think. It could be strong, obviously, and this is it reminds me of a cider. It's very spicy.
Yeah.
It's like a cinnamony apple cider. Really tasty. As I drink, I apologize for the creakiness of this coat. It's leather.
Leather on a leather jacket.
Well, it's Braveheart. You've got the plaid. I've got the leather.
Yeah,
right?
well,
And that's
there
all
you
they
go.
were pretty much
Yeah.
wearing, if that much. So May 24th, 1995, Braveheart premieres. It's obviously about, for those living under a rock for the last 3 decades, it's about Scottish warrior William Wallace as he leads his countrymen in a rebellion to free his homeland of Scotland from the tyranny of King Edward I of England. Directed by and starring Mel Gibson, who we haven't really seen in a while. He's done some one-off stuff. Did a Santa Claus movie, Fat Man, last season. I didn't see, but kind of wanted to.
But back in the heyday,
he was the man.
Mad Max and Lethal Weapon and Braveheart and a ton of other things that he was involved in.
Yeah.
He was just
Payback.
Top of his game.
Yeah, big
phenomenal actor. Obviously, a lot of actors, especially a lot of talented ones, you have some personal issues and things like that.
Idiosyncrasies.
For sure.
Eccentricities. Yeah.
And he's no exception, but it doesn't take away from the amount of talent he has. And actor, director, producer.
I mean, involved at every level of this, and as we'll find out in a minute, didn't originally want to be involved at all. But another person who was supposed to be involved in the movie, we'll just talk about right now, who's actually we've talked about on the in the mix in the past, is Sean Connery.
Yeah.
He keeps popping up everywhere, and Connery was actually supposed to play the King Edward I, the villain. But he was filming Just Cause. It's a forgettable film. I don't think I've ever seen it. I wish he had chosen to do Braveheart. Instead, it went to Patrick McGoogan, who did an amazing job.
Sure.
But the film also stars Sophie Marceau, Catherine McCormick, Brian Cox, Brendan Gleeson, two of my favorite actors, character actors, always working, and a whole hell of a lot of Irishmen. That's what we realized.
Yeah.
Irishmen. This was not filmed in Scotland. It was filmed in Ireland. And aside from a few scenes in the Scottish Highlands, nearly all the movie was made over in Ireland. Up to 1,600 extras were used for the battle scenes. Most are members of the FCA, the Reserve Irish Army. And different companies usually come from the same area, and rivalries developed during the shooting, and they were all trying to beat the hell out of each other during these battle scenes. So the battle scenes ended up far more realistic than if they just pulled Irishmen off the street, I suppose. But several battle scenes had to be reshot because the extras were wearing sunglasses and wristwatches, which you go online and search spoilers, and there's tons of that stuff. But when you're employing that many people, you're bound to miss one or two things. He's got running shoes on, kind of a thing.
But then you get imagine today, because audiences weren't as picky. I don't know if that's the right word. Today you have Game of Thrones where there's a Starbucks cup, or you have another show where there's a guy standing in the shadows, and it's all over the internet. Obviously, this is before,
Yeah, I've been watching reruns of Taxi, from the early 1970s, and you see the mic and the shot, you see bumps a brick wall and it moves, but you just went on with life.
Yeah.
You didn't worry about it. It was television. But this film won 5 Oscars. Best Picture, we were just talking about this. Best Director for Mel Gibson. Best Cinematography. Best Effects, Sound Effects Editing, and Best Makeup. There's a lot of blue paint in this movie, a lot of war paint.
And you chose not to do the blue paint.
What's that? And
I
chose not to do the blue paint. Like I said, it was either plaid or leather attire, and I chose to just do the attire. Although I do look great in blue. Excuse me. It was nominated for 5 more Oscars, including Best Writing. And I found this interesting. The writer's name is Randall Wallace, and he said that before I wrote the film, I'd never heard of William Wallace, and his story seems so romantic to me. I think he's an ancestor. I feel his blood in my veins. I can't prove it, but then no one can disprove it either. So, but there were actually real-life Wallaces, descendants of William Wallace, as extras in the movie, and Mel Gibson stayed with them during the production to learn the family history. So I thought that was pretty cool. And again, like we mentioned earlier, Mel Gibson initially turned down the role of William Wallace. He felt he was too old for the part. Well,
additionally, so in an interview that I read with the director Randall Wallace, he said that he thought Mel Gibson was the guy for the role from the start. Tried selling it to him. Mel, like you said, was hesitant. Wallace, the screenwriter Wallace, goes to Scotland, takes some shots, gets some reenactors to reenact some scenes, kind of give Mel Gibson the idea of what the movie's about. Brings it back, and Mel Gibson's still a little hesitant, but then he brings up really what one of the issues was. And he said to Wallace, "Well, what do you think if I directed this too? Would you have a problem with that?" Mm-hmm. And that was a big holdup to Gibson, accepting this role. He wanted to direct it, and once he said, "Oh, absolutely, direct it, do it." And so, director, star, producer, and then he just took off and ran with it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and Paramount Pictures, they demanded that Mel Gibson play the role, or else they wouldn't have financed the movie. So that helps too. No money. He admitted he always felt a little too old for the role, and he originally wanted Jason Patric, who I wasn't familiar with, but looked up, and also Brad Pitt, who I have heard of. And has done some action films.
He's been in a few things.
Yeah, again, would have totally made a different movie out of it. And Jason Patric, another handsome dude, British actor, I believe, not as well known as Brad Pitt, obviously. But again, this was almost 30 years ago, 26 years ago, and Pitt had not even reached the stardom that he enjoys today. So. It's interestingly enough, in an October 2009 interview with the Daily Mail, Gibson admitted that the film was heavily fictitious. They did take a lot of heat for this, but he claimed that the changes had been made for dramatic purposes, as with all retellings in Hollywood.
Yeah, you're never going to get something that's entirely historically accurate. It's like when I remember we were talking to Danny Bilson about how do you make a war movie?
Yeah.
Make it entertaining and still make it realistic.
He did The Five Bloods with Spike Lee,
right?
And
you have to do some of those things to make it, take liberties to make it entertaining. But Gibson and screenwriter Wallace had said that it was more important to get the message across for the story than to be entirely historically accurate.
Yeah, and I think they did that. I mean, it was a huge success. Although it was voted second most historically inaccurate movie by the Times, third by Ranker, and fourth by Screen Rant, for whatever that means. But a rough cut of the film. The other thing about the film is it's very, very violent. We were speaking with the bartender downstairs, and she's not even as old as the movie is, and has never seen the film. And I hesitate to to recommend it sometimes to delicate personalities because it is very, very brutal. There's hand-to-hand combat with not necessarily even like metal weaponry. It's a lot of sharpened sticks and things.
Yeah, it reminds me, violence-wise, of another Mel Gibson film that I really like, Patriot.
Yeah.
There's a ton of brutal scenes in that too, and
Gladiator, it's on that level. Yeah. But they were trying to avoid the NC-17 rating because of the violence, and after a negative test reaction to some really heavy scenes, Gibson went back and personally edited some of the most graphic scenes that show the brutality. Kind of, it's implied rather than see it. The funny thing is that after several months of filming battle scenes, the worst injury suffered on set was a broken nose. And not funny, but it was actually violence against animals that got people's attention for this movie. It's just brutal, human to human, just brutal. But Gibson was actually investigated by an animal welfare organization, which was convinced that the fake horses used in the movie, a lot of horse flesh in the film, were real. And only when one of Gibson's assistants provided videotaped footage of the location shootings were they convinced otherwise that they hadn't been using real animals. The mechanical horses designs, so these are some of the people I want to get on the show. We do a really good job, I think, and we really strive to talk to people from behind the scenes. Who's the guy that builds the mechanical horses? Because when you think about it, these things, they weighed 200 pounds, they were fueled by nitrogen cylinders, and they were propelled at 30 miles an hour on 20-foot tracks. Like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
I want to talk to that guy. That's the unsung hero of movies.
Yeah, there's so many of these people, and we've talked about, with the pandemic, all the people that have been out of work, and it's not just the actors and the directors and those top line, and that's it's the people
a lot of folks with
the
the movie with the money to make it through.
Yeah,
the working stiffs are out of work
too. Yeah, for sure. And those are the people we like to get. Greg Barbano, Foley artist. He's not. He's top of the game when it comes to Foley, but there's not a ton of people when you think of movies that you think of a director or an actor. So let's work on getting.
And to all you young listeners out there, or parents of young listeners, because that's probably a little bit above your age range. There's a lot of films, or there's a lot of jobs in film and television and the arts in general that aren't the big stars. That's what I tell my kids, is that you can make a great living and have a wonderful life, and you're just down in the credits a little ways.
Yeah.
But you're doing what you love, and there's a lot of really cool, and that's what we try to do on this show, is spotlight some of those people.
Yeah.
So.
And
Anyway,
every role is just as important.
What's that?
Every role
Absolutely.
is important.
Yeah.
You take any of these guys out, and it
falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back to the horses. I'm not
Yes,
talking
back to
about
the
humans
horses.
again. Okay, who cares about the humans? Let's talk about the horses. Mel Gibson said he would give $5. $5. That's it's quite a bit of money to anybody who could spot the fake horses in the final cut. Mel, if you're watching, there's the horse that falls in the moat. It doesn't move like a horse. That's a pretend one. So you can send my $5 to the Bay Street Bistro, 832 Bay Street, Port Orchard, Washington. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're going to be having the, see what I did there? A little segue?
Yeah.
They're going to be doing the Sunday supper this Sunday, so that's going to be May 23rd. Come on down. They're going to be doing a Braveheart theme, so Scottish, and the chef here is Scottish.
Yes.
And I understand that he's taken another position, traveling the country, and as a chef, and this is going to be his last meal at the Bay Street Bistro.
His last Sunday supper, yep.
So this is one not to miss. Here's the Scottish chef, Scottish film, Scottish food. Got to come down for this one. So May 23rd, celebrating Braveheart. They're going to be serving the Braveheart Cocktail. Get here early. Make a reservation. Reservations at baystreetbistro.com. And the phone number will also be posted in the show notes. And go out and watch Braveheart. It's like 3 hours long. Watch it Sunday morning. It's kind of a religious experience. Watch it Sunday morning and then make plans to come down to the bistro.
They did talk about a director's cut. So there were some rumors out there about a director's cut that would have been upwards of 4 hours long.
Hit me.
I mean, can you imagine
I can, and if you're going to sit through an epic, sit through Braveheart.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not necessarily the feel-good movie of the year, but there are certainly parts that swell your breast with pride, no matter what nationality
Absolutely.
you are.
Absolutely. It's a great message, and I think we talked before about the message being the important thing, and I think they got that right.
Yeah, absolutely. And great music, James Horner, again, all-star cast. You're going to recognize a lot of people, even if you don't know their names, a lot of those actors, those working stiff. So, well, thank you for tuning in, again, here on In the Mix, Heilman and Haver. Check us out Friday, May 21st. We're speaking with Tracy Gossel. She's a returning guest to the show. Very accomplished lady and involved in film preservation and the silent film, the movement to save a lot of silent films, and the author of The First King of Hollywood about Douglas Fairbanks, who really impacted Hollywood in a great way.
Speaking of heroes.
Yeah, right. And a guy who could have played Braveheart.
Absolutely.
We want to see that one. Would have been different with no sound. And they probably would have used real horses.
They probably would have used real horses.
Well, cheers.
And the animal rights people probably would have been right on with the abuse.
They probably would have back then, yeah. Well, so here's to you. Here's to Douglas Fairbanks, Mel Gibson, and I totally spaced.
Freedom!
Freedom! Braveheart.